It's a bit too much. It's a bit slow. 1 second.
No.
Okay. I'm trying to slide. Mati, please go. Yeah, go ahead, Mati. Thank you.
Srimad?
Yes, Mati.
Okay, the correct. This content of this meeting is being sent to one or more absent on. Okay, na Prabhuji?
Yeah, Mati. Yeah, do Mati to link live, right? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your wonderful service. Hare Krishna, everyone. I welcome all of you to ISKCON Portland Srimad Bhagavatam class. Before we start our discussion on the Srimad Bhagavatam verse, I am going to recite Mangalasham prayers. Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam class, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to share my screen and show you the verse, today's verse. Just give me a second. Oh, sorry. This one is the verse, today's verse. We are in the chapter, Canto 1, and chapter 15. I'm going to read the verse 8, and today's verse is 8 verse, and we will read the sloka, and then synonyms, and then translation, and then we will discuss it. Yes, Sannidhavaham yo kandavam agnayedam.
ఏంటి నేను ఆర్తి నేను ఇస్తానని నన్ను బోగరు పెడతావా అని అడిగాను ఇందాకలే నేను.
Vidagdhamada Prabhu, can you hear? Thank you so much. Sorry. So, Yetta Yessannidhavaham yo kandavam agnayedam indram chasa maraganam tarasa vijitya labdha shabhamaya kruta bhuta silpamaya digbhyo haranyupatayo balim advarete Yessannidhavaham yo kandavam agnayedam Indram cha samaraganam tarasa vijitya labdha shabhamaya kruta adbhuta silpamaya digbhyo haranyupatayo balim advarete Yessannidhavaham yo kandavam agnayedam Indram cha samaraganam tarasa vijitya labdha shabhamaya kruta adbhuta silpamaya digbhyo haranyupatayo balim advarete. Devotees, anyone want, please recite. If you want to recite, you can please go ahead.
कहते हैं माता जी,
Sure, Prabhu.
यत्सन्निधावहमुखाण्डवमग्नयेदाम् इन्द्रं च सामरगणं तरसा विजित्य लब्धा सभामय कृताद्भुतशिल्पमाया दिग्भ्यो हरन् नृपतयो बलिमध्वरेते. Thank you, Mataji.
Wonderful, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Anyone else want to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I can try.
Okay.
Yatsannidau aham khandavam agnaye adam indram cha samaraganam tarasa vijitye labda sabha maya kritabdu adbhuta shilpa maya digbhyo haran nrupatayo balim advarete. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Anyone else want to read?
I can try, Mataji.
Okay.
One second. यत्सन्निधौ अहं तु काण्डवम् अग्नयेदाम् इन्द्रं च सामरगणं तरसा विजित्य लब्धा शब्दा मया कृतद्बुध शिल्पमाया दिग्भ्यो हरन् नृपतयो बलिम् अध्वरेते. हरे कृष्ण. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So we'll go to synonyms. Yet, whose, Sannidhau, being nearby, Aham, myself, you, note of astonishment, Khandavam, the protected forest of Indra, king of heaven, Agnaye, unto the fire god, Adam, delivered, Indram, Indra, Cha, also, Sa, along with, Amara Ganam, the demigods, Tarasa, with all dexterity, Vijitya, having conquered, Labdha, having obtained, Sabha, assembly house, Mayakrita, built by Maya, Adbhuta, very wonderful, Shilpa, art and workmanship, Maya, potency, Digbhyaha, from all directions, Aharan, collected, Nupatayaha, all princes, Balim, presentations, Adhvare, brought, Te, you were. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Because he was near me, it was impossible for me to conquer with great dexterity the powerful king of heaven, Indradeva, along with his demigod associates, and thus enable the fire god to devastate the Khandava forest. And only by his grace was the demon named Maya saved from the blazing Khandava forest, and thus we could build our assembly house of wonderful architectural workmanship, where all the princes assembled during the performance of Rajasvi Yajna and paid you tributes. Purport: the demon Mayadanava was an inhabitant of forest Khandava, and when the Khandava forest was set on fire, he asked protection from Arjuna. Arjuna saved his life, and as a result of this, the demon felt obliged. He reciprocated by building a wonderful assembly house for the Pandavas, which attracted the extraordinary attention of all state princes. They felt the supernatural power of the Pandavas, and thus, without grudge, all of them submitted and paid tributes to the emperor. The demon possesses wonderful and supernatural powers to create material wonders, but there are always disturbing elements of the society. The modern demons are the harmful material scientists who create some material wonders for disturbance in the society. For example, the creation of nuclear weapons has caused some panic in human society. Maya was also a materialist like that, and he knew the art of creating such wonderful things. Sorry, Maya, it is Maya, not Maya. And yet Lord Krishna wanted to kill him. When he was chased both by the fire and by the will of Lord Krishna, he took shelter of such a devotee as Arjuna, who saved him from the wrath of fire of Lord Sri Krishna. Devotees are therefore more merciful than the Lord, and in devotional service, the mercy of the devotee is more valuable than the mercy of the Lord. Both the fire and the Lord ceased from chasing the demon as soon as both of them saw that the demon was given shelter by such a devotee as Arjuna. This demon, feeling obliged to Arjuna, wanted to do him some service to show his gratefulness, but Arjuna declined to accept anything from him in exchange. Lord Sri Krishna, however, being pleased with Maya, Maya, for his taking shelter of a devotee, asked him to render service unto King Yudhishthir by building a wonderful assembly house. The process is that by the grace of the devotee of the mercy of the Lord is obtained, and by the mercy of the Lord, a chance to serve the Lord's devotee is obtained. The club of Bhishmadev was also a gift of Maya Danava. Jai. So, dear devotees, this chapter actually named as Pandavas retire timely. Why it is mentioned as timely? Because whenever actually Krishna descends to this material world, he's along with him, all his associates also descends to this material world. And when Krishna leaves the planet, it is time for them also, for his associates also to leave the planet, right? So because these are all eternal associates of the Lord, Arjuna, and others are also eternal associates of the Lord, and the Lord's Parshadas, associates of the Lord, they cannot even actually tolerate the separation for a single moment in their life. So they wanted to actually go back to the spiritual world to be with the Lord. So if we see this chapter, when we go to the the whole, actually when I actually was meditating on this verse or focusing on this verse, what to discuss, 3 points came into my mind. I heard last week's Jai Sachana Prabhu's lecture on the earlier verse, and Prabhu nicely narrated taking two aspects, like remembrance. I mean, no, he was actually explaining that the protection of the Lord for his devotees, and also the dependency of the devotees on the on Lord. And so, leaving those two topics, I'm actually thinking for focusing on the other points of this particular chapter. The main points what came into my thought were like the remembrances, the smarana part of the eternal associates of the Lord. How actually when they know that the Lord had already left the planet or about to leave the planet, how would they actually feel? What are the symptoms? What are all the symptoms they experience in their mind and body? And also, how do they turn their separation into a wonderful smarana? Because smarana is very important in our lives, even in Nectar of Instructions, in verse number 8, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned clearly, how does it actually helps us to actually go back to Krishna. Right? Because even Prahlad Maharaj says, right, Smaranam Kirtanam Vishnu, Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smarano. I'm always getting the word of Smaranam only because I'm focusing more on that. So Shravanam Kirtanam, after Shravanam Kirtanam, for some period of time, even Hari Parshad Prabhu also mentions, Smaranam, he has given seminar also when he came last time in the Portland, right? So how important, many other devotees, Hari Vamsha Prabhu also, I think he was mentioning something about the Smaranam in our earlier lectures. So Smaranam is very important. Even Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Nectar of Instruction that there are 5 stages of Smaranam, but ultimately, actually, if we can actually develop, smarana on the Leela of Lord, the ultimate stage of smaranam is like, going into the samadhi. So when the soul actually leaves the body, when we leave the body, if we can actually go, reach that stage of, level of smarana, which is a samadhi stage, then actually, it is really beneficial for us to actually meditate on the Leela of the pastimes of the Lord, to actually go back to Krishna directly. Some verses, I mean, when we hear from the exalted souls, like in the past times, and now if we can remember that scene, then it's important, it's easier for us to go back to Krishna, right? So here now, 3 concepts I want to discuss. I don't know whether time permits, it's already 8:17, but the first concept is like, how do actually the smarana done by, the eternal associates of the Lord, especially when actually they were about to, they were there when they were in separation for the Lord, when the Lord left from this planet after his Leela was done. And the second aspect is regarding Maya Danava, and also the past tense, mentioned in this translation purport. And the third very important point is that how it is important for us to get the mercy of the devotees than the, because mercy of devotees is more important than the mercy of the Lord, right? So that important point I just want to touch and give some examples. So here the example what I want to show is here, like, how when I actually see, Arjuna, initially we can discuss with Arjuna how what had little bit, I'm going back a little bit backwards, like, when Arjuna, the celebrated friend of Lord Krishna, was grief stricken because of his strong feeling of separation from Krishna, over and above all Maharaja Yudhishthira's speculative inquiries. So the earlier chapter was Maharaja Yudhishthira was putting n number of questions, 100 questions, like, how everybody, why are you like this? Why are you lamenting so much? What happened to our relatives? How are everyone, like, our relatives, our friends in Dwaraka, how they are doing, and all these things. Many, many questions he has put, but Arjuna's, nothing is going into Arjuna's mind because he was so much grief stricken. He was having a strong feeling of separation from Krishna. What happens when actually his voice choked up when devotees, I'm talking about the eternal, eternal associates of the Lord, because in this material world, it's really hard to have that kind of separation. Especially, I'm talking about myself. It's really tough to have that kind of separation for the Lord in this material world with this material body, right? But for eternal associates with the Lord, they cannot even tolerate moments of separation from the Lord. And here, his voice choked up and he was not able to speak anything. His heart dried up and his body lost all luster. Now he started remembering the Supreme Lord. So the Smarana has immediately started. So by seeing them, actually, we can also learn from them. If we feel any separation from the Lord, then immediately it is better for us to do some smarana of the Lord, then actually it gives a kind of relief for us. He could hardly utter a single word. He was very silent. He was not able to answer anything. And then with great difficulty, and actually he could check his tears of grief, and he was distressed because Lord Krishna was out of his sight, and increasingly felt affection for him. In that separation mood, actually, it increases, right? Intensifies our affection for Krishna, right? That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Krishna. I mean, even Acharya says that Krishna leaves Vrindavan and gopis feel so much of separation, and many people ask why he did. Even my Prabhu also many times asked, why did Krishna do that to gopis? That means Krishna wants to intensify their affection for him, right? So immediately, the side effect of the feeling separation is increase of affection. We could see that, right? And also, he was not only remembering Lord Krishna, and also his well wishes, his benedictions upon them, and intimate familiar relationships with him, and driving his chariot. Arjuna was remembering all these things, what all happened with Krishna, what leelas, and what kind of good auspicious moment he had spent with Krishna, and all these things he was remembering. And breathing heavily, then he started speaking, and he started actually expressing his gratitude. All right, the next verse, he was expressing his gratitude with lots and lots of gratitude when they feel separation from Krishna, lots and lots of gratitude. And what are all the benedictions given by Krishna, how Krishna has protected them in times of hardships. Everything was expressed. So here he's saying in the sixth, I have just lost him, whose separation for a moment would render all the universes unfavorable and void, like bodies without life. They just feel that there is no life. It's body is like just like a dead matter for them. And then last verse also he's saying how he was just remembering how Krishna had helped in achieving some things in their life. He was expressing that in the coming to the this verse. He was saying that it was impossible for me to conquer with great dexterity the powerful king of heaven, Indradeva. What happened here, Indradeva? Basically, Indradeva, he had to fight with Indradeva. Once upon a time, long, long, long back, I did not remember exactly the name of the king, but he was doing many, many sacrifices, by many, many sacrificing, by pouring so much of butter into sacrifices. And at some point of time, the fire god was not able to digest the butter, which was put so much into the Yajna Kunda, and he got indigestion problem. He got indigestion. Then I think he did tapasya to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma advised him to devastate some forest. That is the digestion, because for fire god, devastating something actually improves their appetite. So so that time actually, upon the advice of Lord Brahma, this fire god started devastating Khandava forest, burning. So that is food for a fire god actually. But that time actually, because Takshaka, the Indra's friend, was living in that forest, Indra started pouring rains, and then again everything was all the fire was stopped, and then again the problem started for fire god. And at that time actually, Lord Krishna and Arjuna were passing by that Khandava forest, and this fire god went and took shelter of Arjuna, and Arjuna gave abhayam to him, no fear, I will actually fight with Indradeva. And he fought with Indradeva, and he defeated Indradeva with the mercy of Lord Krishna. And Indradeva, because of that, he humbled himself in front of Arjuna, and then he gave weapons and everything to Arjuna. And fire god, out of gratitude, he has given a bow, and also not only bow, and he has given the Ratha, the cart, the chariot was given by him. And Arjuna used all these things in the battle of Kurukshetra, of course. So he was remembering, Arjuna basically remembering, how Krishna had helped, him in fighting with Indradeva. And also Mayadanava. Mayadanava is actually, of course, the Mayadanava story is a big story, which I am going to quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam. But before that, I want to finish up the Smaranam part, how, Smaranam actually helps. When I remember when the thought of Smaranam came into my mind, immediately I got one name in my mind, that Uddhava. So when we see Uddhava, Uddhava was also same situation. Even though Bhagavatam was not in a chronological order, it was not put into chronological order, but the same thing is happening here. Actually, when the great devotee Uddhava, Vidura was suggested by Maitreya to ask, questions to Vidura, to Uddhava. So on the advice of Maitreya, Vidura came to Uddhava, who and he reminded about Lord Krishna, how was Lord Krishna doing, and what happened. Then actually Buddha was already in feeling of separation, and as I earlier discussed, when devotees came into separation, they start actually initially they feel like they don't have jiva in their body, they don't have life airs in their body, and then they were not able to even speak anything. It's a kind of dead situation. But slowly they recover and they start. We'll just read 2-3 verses from this. When the great devotee Uddhava was asked by Vidura to speak on the messages of the dearest Lord Krishna, Uddhava was unable to answer immediately due to excessive anxiety at the remembrance of the Lord. So when the Lord, leaves, they start remembering the Lord, because in the remembrance they could actually feel the presence. Remembrance, feel the presence of the Lord. And then he was one who, even in his childhood, at the age of 5 years, was so absorbed in the service of the Lord that when he was called by his mother for morning breakfast, he did not even wish to have it. That much of, attachment with Krishna we could see, right? And Uddhava thus served the Lord continually from childhood, and in his old age that attitude of service never slackened. As soon as he was asked about the message of the Lord, at once he remembered all about him. For a moment he remained dead silent. Immediately they cannot speak, devotee, and his body did not move. He became absorbed in the nectar of remembering the Lord's lotus feet in devotional ecstasy, and he appeared to be going increasingly deeper into that ecstasy. And it was so observed by Vidura that Uddhava had all the transcendental bodily changes due to total ecstasy, and he was trying to wipe away tears of separation from his eyes. Thus, Vidura could understand that Uddhava had completely assimilated extensive love for the Lord. So, this kind of actually prema for the Lord is the goal of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the attainment of prema for the Lordships. So then Uddhava came back from the abode of the Lord to the human plane. because he already went into the deep samadhi kind of thing, deep samadhi in the smarana, and then then he has to come out of that because he had to speak to Vidura. So then wiping his eyes, he awakened his reminiscence of the past and spoke to Vidura in a pleasing mood. Just another verse, because how much actually the suffering without Lord, actually, they could see void in this material world, nothing they could see. Uddhava said, "My dear Vidura, the sun of the world, Lord Krishna has set, and our house has now been swallowed by the great snake of time. What can I say to you about our welfare?" What do you want me to tell? Welfare, you are asking about all the well-being of all the relatives, just like Yudhishthira Maharaj was asking to Arjuna in our present verse, right? But what can I say? When there is no Lord, there is no light, everything was swallowed by the great snake of time. So that was the smarana of the great devotees, right? And then I want to show you another thing, like of course, when actually, this is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Viyoga, separation after meeting. So, separation before meeting is something else, but separation, always, Hari Parshad Prabhu says, and also yesterday, I think, a day before yesterday, Hari Vamsha Prabhu is also, was also mentioning that if we have something valuable in our lives, like a possession, if we have possession of something valuable, like a diamond or anything else, then after attaining it, then we will lose it. Then what happens? The separation, really, it's very tough to tolerate, right? See, normal devotees like me, I don't have any possession of the Lord. I have never seen the Lord. So even if I feel separation, that's something different, right? Because I have never seen the Lord. But these actually Gopabalakas, here I'm talking about the Gopabalas, the covered friends of Krishna in the Sakhya Rasa. How do they feel actually? Because they already played with Krishna, they have seen Krishna, they're having good time with Krishna, right? So then after having that association, then immediately suddenly if Krishna went to Mathura, this is a situation where actually Krishna leaves them and go to Mathura. At that time, actually, here, Srila Rupa Goswami, talking about Viyoga, separation after meeting, you protected us. They're actually in a painful state. They're explaining, you protected us, your friends, from the fire of digestion of Aghasura, from the poison of Kalia, and from the epithet of the forest fire. But how will you protect us? Where is it? So 33139. No, I think it is gone. 118, I think, right? Yeah. So this is coming. Okay. So protect. But how will you protect us, despairing friends, from the attack of this fever of separation? Krishna, you have actually protected us from many dangers. But how will you actually, how will you protect us from, this kind of feeling of separation, which is far more ferocious than these three dangers? What are the dangers? Fire of digestion of Agasura, poison of Kalia, epithet of forest fire. All these things are very, less than a blade of grass for us. Those are at least okay, we can tolerate. But your separation, your this kind of fever of separation, how can actually we can actually survive from this, Krishna? They were asking. How pitiable situation, right? So out of I'm just going to go through some verses, like this feeling of separation actually gives, what are the symptoms, how do they actually express their separation, what are the bodily changes they will have. 10 conditions, very pitiable conditions. That is why I'm actually explaining this heat in the body. The O enemy of Kamsa, the strong heat generated by separation from you is most amazing, because it causes even more intense heat in a very cool place. It has multiplied its heat in the waters of the cool Yamuna river, and it is burning your friends headed by Subala. So this is heat in the body. And then thinness of the body. Oh, and we cannot even imagine in our dreams for these kinds of, symptoms in us, right? Because these are all eternal associates of the Lord. So, oh, enemy of the demons, When you went to Madura to liberate Kamsa, the four elements, earth, water, fire, and ether, in the covered boys became meager due to their intense sorrow. Only the air element passing through their nostrils became strong. So they have become very thin. And insomnia, sleeplessness, I think. O King of the Edo, seeing the tears in the lotus eyes of your friend Varutapa, the bees of sleep have given up those lotus eyes out of disgust. Vacant mind. The mind has become vacant. Since the son of the king of Raja, my dear friend, left Vrindavana, my fickle mind without support has become so light that it rises and falls like a piece of cotton, spins around constantly and cannot find a point of concentration. Mind has become vacant. And then detachment. In separation from you, your friends are no longer interested in their occupation of herding the cows. When Krishna was there, they were actually happy herding the cows. They make millions of attempts to forget about singing and dancing. What more I can say? They do not desire to remain alive. So this is for the separation. Dullness. O Mukunda, your friends appear like trees on the top of a mountain. As the trees have no leaves, they have no clothing. As the trees has no beauty, they have no luster. As the tree is silent without birds, they are silent. As the tree is without fruit, they are without actions. They are thin with worn, rough limbs. Vyadihi, next, sickness, suffering from the heat of the fever in separation from you, all your young cowherd friends have been lying on the bank of the Yamuna with limp limbs for many days. They're lifeless, they are like a dead like people. They are actually lying on the banks of Yamuna. These kinds of vyadhi, sickness, unmada, insanity. Lord of Mukunda, unable to think of you because of the confusion caused by separation. The cowherd boys have now forgotten how to conduct themselves in this world. Sometimes they fall on the ground, sometimes they lie down, sometimes they laugh, sometimes they run, and sometimes they weep. And fainting, the Lord of the Madhus, having attained a kingdom at sweet Madhura, now enjoys himself and gives bliss to the world. But crying and fainting repeatedly, Gokula has become completely confused. Finally, death-like state, Mrutyuhu. Mrutyuhu also happens. O enemy of Kamsa, worn out with the pain arising from the waves of fever of separation, the coward boys have fallen down on the planet of Govardhana and plateau of Govardhana and are breathing only slightly, just as people lament with tears in their eyes. When they see that acquaintances have fallen into difficulty today, the deer lament for them, soaking their motionless bodies with their profuse tears. So these are the separation which has been described here is in accordance with the pastimes of the Lord when he appears on the earth. However, the inhabitants of Raja are never separated from Krishna. This is little consoling thing Rupa Goswami kindly has given us after all these, sorrowful, experience that the covered boys that, and yesterday very nicely Harivamsha Prabhu is also describing that these pastimes, fortunately, these separation pastimes are on the earthly planet only, not on the spiritual planet. Only, yesterday he was explaining about, Purva Raga, Mana, and also Samkshipta and Sankirna, Sampanna, and Sampanna, and the last one Samruddhi, I think. These unions, short unions, right? I mean, so in the spiritual world, fortunately, there is no long separation, like how Krishna goes to Madhura and all these things, but only thing is very short, like Krishna goes to herd cows and comes back in the evening, and these kinds of small, separation is there, but not the very long separation. That is a good news, for all of us. And then another thing I want to share is this is done another final actually in the separation group. How can I, without describing the gopi separation from Krishna, and go to the next this thingy, right? It is important because gopis love is the highest epitome of love in the spiritual world. And when gopis, this is not when Krishna went to Madhura, this is a short kind of Rasa Leela, right? In the Rasa Leela, when the Rasa Leela was happening, suddenly Krishna disappears. Then what happened actually when Lord Krishna disappeared so suddenly, the gopis felt great sorrow at losing sight of him, like a group of female elephants who have lost their mate. I'm going to do 2-3 verses. As the cowed woman remembered Lord Krishna, again the remembrance starts. So whenever there is a separation of the Lord, automatically the side effect is remembrance of Lord's pastimes. Their hearts are overwhelmed by his movements and loving smiles, his playful glances and enchanting talks, and by the many other pastimes he would enjoy with them. Thus, absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, the Lord of Rama, the gopis began acting out various transcendental pastimes. Because the beloved gopis were absorbed in thoughts of their beloved Krishna, their bodies imitated his way of moving, smiling, his way of beholding them, his speech, and his other distinctive features. Deeply immersed in thinking of him and maddened by remembering his pastimes, they declared to one another, I am Krishna. So this is own madness. Singing loudly of Krishna, they searched for him throughout the Vrindavana forest like a band of mad women. They even asked the trees about him, who, as the super soul, is present inside and outside all created things, just like the sky. So gopis they have become mad, and they were asking they were actually enacting the pastimes, thinking that they are Krishna, and some gopi has become Krishna, some gopi has become the associates of Krishna and Kalia, and then other pastimes, lifting Govardhana hill, everything they were actually acting. And one gopi is playing flute, and different gopis went to different trees. Many number of trees they went, and they asked, "Did you see Krishna? Did you see Krishna? Did you see Krishna?" And they were also asking deer and other animals, "Did you see Krishna? Did you see Krishna?" And then actually next chapter what happens is, after they enacted all the pastimes, and after they asked everyone, finally they started feeling separation, and they started feeling their song of separation, Gopi Geet. And Gopi Geet they sang, and they expressed their love, and they requested Krishna, please come in front of us, Krishna, please come, we are feeling separation from you, don't delay. The songs of separation. And the last verse, I'm going to just finally, after singing all the verses, then finally they sang, Yette sujata charanamburuham staneshu bhitasane priyadadhi महिकर्कशेषु तेनातविम् अतसित व्यतथेन किं स्वेत कूर्पादिभिर्भ्रमति धीर् भवदायुषं न. Oh, dearly beloved, your lotus feet are so soft that we place them gently on our breasts, fearing that your feet will be hurt. Our life rests only in you. Our minds therefore are filled with anxiety that your tender feet might be wounded by pebbles as you roam about on the forest path. So this is the final prayer, but still Krishna did not appear in front of them. So finally, they have used their last weapon. What is the last weapon? Always, even Haripashad Prabhu says that only our cry can actually, melt the heart of Krishna. So gopis actually, after this, the next chapter tells that they went again to the in the night, in the Nishi Ratri, in the night, they went into the forest, and on the banks of Kalinda river, they started loudly crying Krishna. Such a big, louder cry, for some time they cried, all of them cried so piteously that finally Krishna came in front of them. So that was the end, basically. And when we see all this separation is such thing that, we have to actually develop that kind of separation for Krishna. Then only we will be allowed in the spiritual planet. Why do Krishna welcome us? You all tell me actually. I'm telling myself actually, not to all you all. Definitely are very elevated personalities, but without expression of love, without our cry, how can even Krishna allow us to enter into his planet, right? If we are happy in this world doing, of course we are all doing different services in the temple and outside temple, and we are doing so many best good services, wonderful services, which everybody can actually recognize and praise and appreciate our services. But unless internally, unless we develop, one time Jay Sachin Prabhu was also mentioning about the smarana. Internally, externally, we have to, serve. Internally, we have to develop the smarana mode of the Lord. And internally, if we had not developed any connection with the Lord and cry for the Lord, separately, independently, give just little bit of time for us, leave everything in our life, leave everything, keep aside everything, and just sit in one corner of the house, closing our eyes and thinking of Krishna, and start remembering, what is our connection with Krishna? What are we doing every day? Are we thinking of Krishna? And meditate on some pastimes and develop some smarana, And whatever the examples I was shown is a different case than the Bhishmadev. These are all actually Krishna disappeared and they were feeling separation. In case of Bhishmadev, to my surprise actually, he wanted to live body by seeing the Lord in front of him, and Krishna knows that because he is omniscient. And it's not that Krishna cannot console Yudhishthira Maharaj and other Pandavas, right? I mean, he can do anything. Nothing is impossible for Krishna. But he just came, bring all the Pandavas to the Bhishmadev, who was lying on the bed of the arrows, and who was waiting for Krishna basically to leave his body. But Krishna knows, and Krishna, of course, brought all of them, and he was standing in front of him. Even after Krishna standing in front of him, he can actually leave his body by seeing Krishna. That was an auspicious moment. When Krishna comes in front of us, what more auspicious minute than this, right? But he was not leaving his body. Actually, he went into deep smarana, and out of gratitude. They were all expressing gratitude. Even Arjuna in our present verse, he was expressing gratitude for Krishna, right? Out of the gratitude, out of this lamentation that Krishna left, he was actually remembering. Here, Bhishma Deva, even the Lord was in front of him, he still was remembering. He went into deep kind of smarana. With that deep smarana only, finally he came out of this deep smarana, and seeing the Lord, he left his body, right? This is so amazing thing actually I found. And this case is something different. This case is something different. So now whatever I wanted to share, regarding actually a smarana part, which really attracted my heart, I really shared. And then now the other thing is, like, because the point I want to mention is, so here, yes, because the time is only 15 minutes, I'm going to go actually touch another point and then go to the Mayadanava pastime, the Leela. So because here in the last lines, Srila Prabhupada was explaining about the separation of the devotee, no, the mercy of the devotee, how important it is, because here Mayadanava was about to kill by Lord Krishna, but because he's a demon, right? So he was about to kill by Lord Krishna, but he immediately took shelter in front of Lord Krishna. He immediately took shelter of Arjuna. But Krishna didn't mind. Usually, in our etiquette, if we actually take shelter, who in authority with someone who in front of one who has his superior authority present over there, it's considered as an offense. But Lord Krishna is having such a big heart that in front of him only he took the shelter of Arjuna. Arjuna actually gave shelter of Mayadanava. So because of that, actually, he was protected by Arjuna. And even though Arjuna did not want anything from him, but still Krishna said, see, you have to have gratefulness. Arjuna might say nothing needed, but you have to have gratefulness. So you have to construct a building for them. Indraprastha, so devotees' mercy is very important. And in regarding this devotees' mercy, we have been seeing so many instances in our lives, right? In Srimad Bhagavatam, of course. We do have personal experiences, but in Srimad Bhagavatam also, like, Ambarish Maharaj, in case of Ambarish Maharaj, how Durvasa Muni got, attacked by, Lord Vishnu's the chakra. And finally, Lord Vishnu also, he went around 3 worlds, but no one was there to protect him. And finally, on the advice of Lord Vishnu, he had come under the shelter of Ambarish Maharaj. Then, with the mercy of Ambarish Maharaj, he was protected. And also, in case of Prahlad Maharaj, if you see Prahlad Maharaj, I think I have put one verse of Prahlad Maharaj. This is Mayadanavas, and this is Prahlad Maharaj is saying, see, Prahlad Maharaj is such a wonderful devotee. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of my association with material desires, one after another, I was gradually falling into the blind well full of snakes, following the general populace. But your servant Narada Muni kindly accepted me as his disciple and instructed me how to achieve this transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him. How could I leave his service? How much gratitude, right? because of Narada Muni, when he was in the womb of his mother Kayadu, he got everything, all the pure devotional service aspects. He got it right. So that is what he's expressing his gratitude. Not only him, like Dhruva Maharaj, with the mercy of Dhruva Maharaj, with the mercy of I'm just give me a second. Dhruva Maharaj, with the mercy of Narada Muni, how he had actually attained his goal of, he attained all his goals basically, seeing the Lord, and also all his desires were fulfilled. And Hunter Mrugari also, he took instructions from Narada Muni, and he followed it, and he attained perfection in his devotional service. And Narada Muni also, of course, Narada Muni got the blessings of Vedantis, how he had actually served the Vedantis in his earlier previous life, right? That was also an example. And also Vyasadeva's composition of Srimad Bhagavatam is another blessings of, it happened with the blessings of Narada. So many things were there like this. And yeah, and now we are going to read little bit about, I don't know whether maybe time permits, but I am going to share my screen about Maya Danava. A little bit of Maya Danava we could actually read. Oh, this is done. So long history. So this is chapter 7:10. It is explained about Maya Danava, the story of Maya Danava. Before that, I want to show another verse. See, in the Maya Danava is a king of Sutala Atala planet. Those planets are like in a lower planetary system. So it is mentioned about the lower planetary systems in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In these 7 planetary systems, which are also known as the subaltern heavens, Bilasvarga. It is called as Bilasvarga. There are very beautiful houses, gardens, and places of sense enjoyment, which are even more opulent than those in the higher planets, because the demons have a very high standard of sensual pleasure, wealth, and influence. Most of the residents of these planets, who are known as Daityas, Danavas, and Nagas, live as householders. Their wives, children, friends, and society are all fully engaged in illusory material happiness. The sense enjoyment of the demigods is sometimes disturbed, but the residents of these planets enjoy life without disturbances. So they have actually more opulences and more material enjoyment than the demigods. Thus, they are understood to be very attracted to illusory happiness. What is the point, right? When they are actually attracted to the illusory happiness. The imitation heaven known as Bilasvarga, there is a great demon named Maya Danava, who is an expert artist and architect. That is why Krishna asked him to build a building, Indraprastha. He has constructed many brilliantly decorated cities. There are many wonderful houses, walls, gates, assembly houses, temples, ads, and temple compounds, as well as many hotels serving as residential quarters for foreigners. The houses for the leaders of these planets are constructed with the most valuable jewels, and they're all always crowded with living entities known as Nagas and Asuras, as well as many pigeons, parrots, and similar birds. All in all, these imitation heavenly cities are most beautifully situated and attractively decorated. So this is actually, 28th verse I'm going. This is a little bit information about the Bilasvarga, which is called as the lower planetary systems, where Maya Danava and other Daityas, especially the demons, live over there. And the 28th verse is talking about, because the planet known as Sutala is another planet called Talatala, which is ruled by the Danava demon Maya. So this Maya Danava is the king of, Sutala, Talatala. It is called as Talatala. Maya is known as the Acharya of all the Mayavis, who can invoke the powers of sorcery. So he's very, very powerful. He has a lot of mystic powers. Like, Srila Prabhupada in today's purport mentioning that these modern scientists are using all their, intelligence in creating nuclear weapons and all that, which is not good basically. But, that at this point of time, in the earlier ages, these kind of demons used to do that actually. So for the benefit of 3 worlds, Lord Shiva, who is known as Tripurari, once set fire to the 3 kingdoms of Maya. But later, being pleased with him, he returned his kingdom. So since that time, Mayadanava had protected by Lord Shiva, and therefore he falsely think that he need not fear the Sudarshan Chakra of the Supreme Lord. So this is a little bit of information about Mayadanava, but how actually what happened between Lord Shiva and the Mayadanava is explained in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 10th chapter. We go little bit of this and we will end the call. Okay, we will be done with our discussion. So this is a history told by Yudhishthira to Narada Muni, because the whole 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam was a conversation between Narada Muni and Yudhishthira Maharaj. It's a story of Prahlad. It's a Leela of Prahlad Maharaj. So there was a demon Mayadanava long ago. He was very expert in technical knowledge, and he tried to reduce the reputation of Lord Shiva. In this situation, Krishna, how he saved Lord Shiva is the story. Okay. And Yudhishthira Maharaj asked the question. When he was heard from this, from Narada Muni, he asked, what reason did the demon Mayadanava vanquish, and why did he even, vanquish Lord Shiva's reputation, and how did Krishna save him from that? So please tell me that. And then Narada Muni started narrating the story. The demigods who were very powerful by the mercy of Lord Krishna fought with the Asuras. So Asuras were defeated, and therefore they took shelter of Mayadanava. The greatest of all the demons is Mayadanava. They took shelter. It is natural, right? They went to their leader and took shelter. So Mayadanava, the great leader of demons, prepared 3 invisible residences for them, to the demons. And these dwellings resembled airplanes made of gold, silver, and iron. So that's amazing. 3 residences, invisible. They are not visible to the demigods. So that kind of airplanes were made with gold, silver, and iron, and they contained uncommon paraphernalia. My dear King Yudhishthir, because of these 3 dwellings, the commanders of the demons remained invisible to the demigods. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the demons, remembering their former enmity, began to vanquish 3 worlds, the upper, middle, and the lower planetary systems. Because they have become more powerful with these invisible residences created by Mayadanava, and they started again fighting with the demigods. Thereafter, the demons had begun to destroy the higher planetary systems. The rulers of those planets went to Lord Shiva. So, just like how Asuras went to their leader, all the demigods went to their leader, Lord Shiva, and surrendered to him and said, Dear Lord, the demigods living in the 3 worlds are about to vanquished. We are your followers. Kindly save us. They asked their protection. The most powerful and able Lord Shiva reassured them and said, Do not be afraid. He then fixed his arrows to his bow and released them towards the 3 residences occupied by the demons. The arrows released by Lord Shiva appeared like fiery beams emanating from the sun globe and covered the 3 residential airplanes, which could then no longer be seen. Attacked by Lord Shiva's golden arrows, all the demonic inhabitants of those 3 dwellings lost their lives and fell down. Then the great mystic yogi Mayadanava, what did he do? Drop the demons into a nectarian well he had created, and again brought them to life. He has put them in the nectarian well. Then, when the dead bodies of the demons came in touch with the nectar, their bodies became invisible to thunderbolts, because they have become like immortal. Endowed with great strength, they got up like lightning penetrating clouds. Seeing Lord Shiva very much aggrieved and disappointed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, considered how to stop this nuisance created by Mayadanava. Then the Lord Brahma came in a. What happened? Then Shiva actually much aggrieved and disappointed. He consulted Lord Vishnu, right? Because he did it, but again they were brought into life. Then the Lord Brahma became a calf and Lord Vishnu a cow, and at noon they entered the residences and drank all the nectar in the well. So Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu took Lord Brahma along with him, and they went and they actually drank all the nectar in the well. And the demons could see the curve and curve, but because of the illusion created by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the demons could not forbid them. The great mystic Maya Danava became aware that the calf and cow were drinking the nectar, and he could understand this to be the unseen power of providence. Thus he spoke to the demons, who were grievously lamenting. Mayadanva said, What has been destined by the Supreme Lord for oneself, for others, or for both oneself and others cannot be undone anywhere, anyone. Whether one be a demigod, a demon, or human being, anyone else. So all these demons know everything. the Vedanta philosophy, Tattva, they know everything, but application is not there. Like Hiranyakashipu knows everything. Hiranyakashipu, he was also teaching actually to his mother, Hiranyakashipu. They know everything. So these words, see how. So thereafter, Lord Krishna, by his own personal potency, consisting of religion, knowledge, renunciation, opulence, austerity, education activities, equipped Lord Shiva with all the necessary paraphernalia, such as charioteer, a flag, horses, elephants, a bow, a shield, and arrows. When Lord Shiva was fully equipped in this way, he sat down on the chariot with his arrows and bow to fight with the demons. Then Lord Shiva was given all protection by Lord Vishnu, given all the necessary paraphernalia to fight with the demons, etc. And then he started fighting with them. And the most powerful Lord Shiva joined the arrows to his bow, and at the noon he set fire to all the three residences of the demons, and this destroyed them. So the residences created, the invisible residences created by Maya Danava were actually completely, finally destroyed by Lord Shiva with the mercy of Lord Vishnu. And then all his pride was gone. Seated in the air, they replaced in the sky. The inhabitants of the higher planetary systems beat many kettle drums. The demigods, the saints, Pitas, Siddhas, and various great personalities showered flowers on the head of Lord Shiva, wishing him all victory. And the Apsaras began to chant and dance with great pleasure. Thus, Lord Shiva is known as Tripurari. Why Lord Shiva is known as Tripurari? The annihilator of the three dwellings of the demons, because he burned these dwellings to ashes, being worshipped by the demigods headed by Lord Brahma. Lord Shiva returned to his own abode. So this much was explained in this chapter, and later maybe he actually went Mayadaniva and took shelter of Lord Shiva again and begged forgiveness. And again Lord Shiva, he's a Ashutosh, very very easily pleased. So he must have given the kingdom back again, the three residences back, and he was actually loyal to Lord Shiva. So these things are expressed in this. And I think so this is the past time actually. And here Mayadanava was also living in the forest, Kandava forest. And so actually he was saved by Arjuna when he was also about to be burnt in the fires, but even Lord Krishna wanted to kill. He was running in the forest. Actually, he wanted to protect his life. He was running in the forest, but suddenly he came in front of Krishna, and Krishna wanted to kill him actually, because he's a demon, Daitya. And but he immediately went and took shelter of Arjuna, and then he was protected. And that's why Srila Prabhupada in the translation, it is built upon the request of upon the instruction of Lord Krishna. He has because he's a wonderful architectural skills are there in him. He's his craftsmanship and everything, and he actually built an assembly house of wonderful architectural workmanship, which is actually used for performance of Rajasuya Yajna and paid tributes by all the other devotees. So this is what actually mentioned in this particular verse, today's verse. It is going to be 1 minute less than 9. And also 3 points are covered by now. So I'm going to end my discussion today. If anybody has anything to share, they can share. Otherwise, we can actually, continue call. Hare Krishna devotees, maybe actually we can stop our discussion here and end the call. Yeah. I think Nartha Milas Prabhu left because he has some work, and so we can leave the class now. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha. Anyone has to say anything, any questions or anything like that? Thank you, Anita. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining, everyone. Maybe we can actually end our class here. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for a wonderful lecture. I know every time you go depth into the scripture, and you bring multiple references from Shastra. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you, Vijay. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear Dijango Prabhu. Thank you, Vijayalakshmi Mataji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.